Ever imagine India as like the world's economic superpower?
Hmm.
It's not a hypothetical, it's history.
Right.
Today we're going deep, deep into India's economic story, from ancient riches to its modern, resurgence.
Mm-hmm.
We've got this historical document, 267-6262-636, History of Indian Economy.pdf as our guide.
Okay.
Get ready to uncover the hows and the whys of India's economic journey and what it all means for the future.
It's fascinating how often people start India's economic narrative in the 20th century.
Yeah.
But the reality is India boasts this legacy of economic strength that goes back thousands of years.
Love to rewind all the way back to the Indus Valley Civilization, around 3500 to 1800 BC.
Okay.
They were not just surviving, they were thriving. Advanced urban planning, intricate trade networks spanning all the way to Mesopotamia.
Wow.
They were trading gold, copper, jewels. These guys were way ahead of their time.
What's remarkable is that their economic strength wasn't built solely on agriculture. Their innovation as artisans and shrewd trading practices allowed them to construct a truly remarkable civilization.
So how did they maintain this economic power for so long?
Stability played a crucial role.
Okay.
Take the Mauryan Empire, around 321 BC.
Yeah.
Political unity fostered trade and commerce. They understood the power of infrastructure, too, investing heavily in roads and irrigation systems. A standardized economic system with a uniform currency also helped boost trade and economic activity.
Right.
These factors laid the foundation for centuries of economic dominance.
That's a great point about stability. Think about it. They had to have systems in place to manage all that trade and wealth. Okay, fast forward to around 600 BC, we see the Mahajanapadas minting silver coins. What does this tell us?
It signals a shift toward a more complex and organized economy.
Yeah.
The use of coins suggests a greater volume of trade and economic activity, requiring a more sophisticated means of exchange than barter. Then, boom, the Maurya Empire arrives, uniting a vast swath of the Indian subcontinent. That kind of political stability must have supercharged their economy.
Absolutely. The Maurya Empire is a prime example of how political stability can drive economic prosperity.
Right.
And this prosperity wasn't a blip. For about 1,500 years, from the 1st to the 17th centuries AD,
Wow.
India held the title of the world's largest economy.
1,500 years. That's incredible. Were they really on top of the world for that long?
Not just on top, they were controlling a staggering 1/3 to 1/4 of the world's wealth. Imagine that.
Right.
For centuries, India was the economic heart of the world.
Amazing.
Professor Angus Madison's data on India's share of world GDP backs this up, consistently hovering around 25% from 1000 AD to 1700 AD.
This is blowing my mind. So they weren't just getting by, they were the economic powerhouse. I have to ask, what was their secret sauce? How did they manage to stay on top for so long?
Well, apart from the political stability we talked about, India was a hub of innovation.
Think about their advancements in agriculture, textiles, and even metallurgy. They were producing high-quality goods that were sought after across the globe. This wasn't just about meeting local needs. They were exporting their expertise and products on a large scale.
And we can't forget their strategic location, right? They were practically at the center of the world,
Right.
dominating those extensive trade routes connecting them to Europe, Africa, and Asia.
Yeah.
Spices, textiles, precious stones, you name it. They were masters of the Silk Road.
And underpinning all of this
Yeah.
was a robust agricultural system.
Okay.
India's fertile land and diverse climate allowed them to produce a surplus of food grains, supporting a growing population and fueling their vibrant economy.
This picture of ancient India as this economic powerhouse is so different from what we often hear. But of course, as with all empires, things change. What happened that led to their decline?
The arrival of the British East India Company in the 18th century marked a significant turning point. This wasn't a partnership, it was the beginning of colonial rule, and it had a devastating impact on India's economy.
This is where things get interesting, right? Because we're not just talking about a shift in power, we're talking about a systematic dismantling of India's economic prowess.
Exactly. The British East India Company, and later the British Raj, exploited India's resources for their gain, extracting wealth and reshaping the economy to serve their interests.
So how did this exploitation play out? What specific actions did the British take that crippled India's economy?
They implemented policies that actively destroyed local industries.
Really?
India, known for its exquisite textiles, high-quality steel, and vibrant shipbuilding industry, saw these sectors systematically dismantled.
So it was a deliberate strategy to stifle competition and turn India into a source of raw materials for their own industries.
Precisely. They transformed India from an exporter of finished goods to a supplier of raw materials like cotton, opium, and indigo, all to feed British factories.
What was the impact of these policies on the Indian people?
The human cost was immense. India, once a symbol of prosperity, experienced frequent famines, declining life expectancy, widespread poverty, and a significant drop in literacy rates. The British introduced land revenue systems that burdened Indian farmers, imposed tariffs that protected British industries while crippling Indian ones, and diverted India's resources to fuel their own industrial revolution. It was a systematic drain of wealth.
It's heartbreaking to see how this period reversed centuries of progress and left such a devastating legacy. But eventually India gained independence, right?
Yes. In 1947, India embarked on a new chapter, facing the monumental task of rebuilding its economy and uplifting millions from poverty. They chose the path of centralized planning, adopting 5-year plans similar to the Soviet Union.
So what does centralized planning actually mean?
Right.
How did this model work in practice?
Centralized planning essentially means the government takes the lead in directing economic activity. They set targets for growth, allocate resources to specific sectors, and control prices and production. The idea was to create a self-reliant economy, focusing on heavy industries and infrastructure.
It sounds like a complete departure from the British Raj's approach. Were they successful in achieving their goals?
The initial 5-year plans prioritized agriculture,
laying
the groundwork for what we know as the Green Revolution. This revolutionized agricultural practices, leading to a significant increase in food grain production, which is crucial for a nation struggling with food security. They also focused on building dams, power plants, and transportation networks, essentially creating the foundation for modern India's infrastructure.
So they were setting the stage for long-term growth, but did they see immediate results?
The economic growth from 1951 to 1979 was moderate, averaging around 3.1% per year. It wasn't a dramatic surge, but it was steady progress. Industry grew slightly faster than agriculture, indicating a gradual shift toward industrialization.
But things didn't always go smoothly, did they? Weren't there challenges along the way?
You're right. The 1980s saw increased investment, boosting the growth rate to around 5.5% per year. However, this growth came with a cost. Increased reliance on foreign borrowing ultimately led to a balance of payments crisis in 1990.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because this crisis forced a major turning point in India's economic policies, right?
Absolutely. Facing a severe economic crisis, India embarked on a path of liberalization in 1991, opening its economy to foreign investment and market forces. It was a bold move, a dramatic shift from a closed, state-controlled economy to embracing free markets.
That must have been a huge gamble. What were some of the concerns and challenges surrounding this liberalization?
There were definitely concerns.
Yeah.
Many worried about the impact of foreign competition on domestic industries,
Right.
potential job losses, and the fear of losing economic sovereignty. But there was also a growing recognition that the old model wasn't working. India needed to integrate into the global economy to reach its full potential.
And that's precisely what they did. They
Right.
took that leap of faith.
Yeah.
And the results have been pretty remarkable.
Indeed. Since 1991, India has experienced remarkable economic growth, averaging 6-8% per year.
Wow.
It's become the third largest economy in the world by purchasing power parity and a magnet for foreign direct investment.
Okay, those are some seriously impressive numbers.
Yeah.
But it's not just about the sheer size of the economy, right?
Right.
What's really interesting is how India has diversified and transformed its economic landscape.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
We've witnessed incredible diversification. Sectors like IT, telecommunications, pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, and even tourism have flourished, creating millions of jobs and drawing investment from around the world.
It's fascinating how India has leveraged its strengths in this globalized world.
Yeah.
Their expertise in IT and software development.
Right.
Their English-speaking workforce, their entrepreneurial spirit, these have all become major assets.
Absolutely.
And if you want a specific example of their growing prominence, look at the manufacturing sector. Deloitte projected that India would become the second largest manufacturing economy by 2017.
Wow.
Surpassing giants like Japan and Germany.
That's incredible.
Wow, that's a bold prediction. What are the key factors driving this growth in manufacturing? Is it just cheap labor, or is there more to the story?
It's much more than just cheap labor.
Okay.
India has a large and increasingly skilled workforce.
Yeah.
Which is a major draw for companies looking to set up production facilities. The government has also played a crucial role.
Okay.
Implementing policies to attract foreign investment, streamline regulations, and improve infrastructure.
And let's not forget the rise of domestic consumption in India.
Right.
As millions of Indians enter the middle class, their purchasing power grows.
Yeah.
Creating a massive market for manufactured goods right within the country.
Exactly. And this combination of factors positions India as a formidable force in global manufacturing. But what about the future? Right. Where is this economic journey heading?
That's the million-dollar question. What does India's economic future hold? Will they continue on this upward trajectory?
All signs point towards a continued ascent.
Okay.
Rising income levels, a growing middle class,
Right.
and a young and dynamic population. India possesses all the ingredients to become one of the defining economic forces of our time.
Paint a picture for me. What does this future look like?
Okay.
What are the sectors to watch?
First, consider their demographics. India boasts the world's largest youth population.
Wow.
And this workforce is becoming increasingly skilled and educated.
Okay.
That's a tremendous asset in our knowledge-based global economy.
So it's not just about the numbers. It's about having a young, educated workforce ready to drive innovation and growth.
Precisely. And we're already witnessing a surge in entrepreneurship, innovation, and risk-taking, particularly among young Indians. This is fueling growth in sectors like IT, pharmaceuticals, engineering goods, and textiles.
Right.
India is becoming a global hub for innovation and research and development, attracting talent and investment from all corners of the world.
Okay, so they've got this young, driven workforce, and they're making waves in key sectors. But let's be realistic. There are always challenges, right?
Yeah.
What are some of the hurdles India might face on its path to becoming a global economic superpower?
One of the biggest challenges is infrastructure.
Okay.
While India has made significant progress in building roads, ports, and airports, there's still much work to be done. Improving infrastructure is crucial to attracting more investment and generating more jobs.
And I imagine inequality is another major hurdle. Even with this rapid economic growth, the benefits haven't necessarily reached everyone equally.
You're right. Addressing poverty and ensuring inclusive growth are essential for long-term stability and prosperity.
Yeah.
And, of course, there are global challenges like climate change, geopolitical instability, and trade wars, all of which could impact India's growth trajectory.
So taking all of this into account, what does this mean for you, our listener? Why should you care about India's economic journey?
This is more than just numbers and statistics. It's a story of resilience. A nation overcoming immense adversity to reclaim its place on the world stage. India's economic rise has the potential to reshape the global landscape, creating new opportunities for trade, investment, and collaboration.
It's a reminder that we live in an interconnected world, and what happens in India has implications for all of us.
Absolutely.
Their success, or even their struggles, can offer valuable lessons for other developing nations. It demonstrates that with the right policies and investments, sustained economic growth and lifting millions out of poverty is possible.
Indeed. The next chapter in India's economic story is yet to be written. But one thing is certain, it promises to be full of surprises, challenges, and triumphs. As we wrap up this deep dive, consider this. What role will India play in shaping the future? Will they reclaim their position as the world's leading economic power?
Wow.
And what lessons can other nations learn from their journey?
It's a thought-provoking question to ponder. As India's influence grows, it will undoubtedly challenge our assumptions, disrupt existing power structures, and force us to rethink our place in the world. Their story is a powerful reminder that the global economic landscape is constantly evolving, and we're all part of this unfolding narrative.